Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no, here comes the.
Yo, what is going on YouTube, man? Hope everybody's having a lovely evening. Hope everybody's having a lovely day. If you're new here, I'm your host, Calvin Domingo, aka Steezy A. Smith. Apologize for the wait, you guys. Give me just a second. Let me make sure everything is straight. So give me just a second. All right, real quick. Can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure. For those of you guys in the chat right now, can you all hear me? I'm having some issues here on my end. Y'all can hear me though, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. I don't know. I'm usually able to hear myself in the headphones. I don't know why I can't hear myself right now. But like I was saying though, another beautiful day out here in Seattle. I hope you guys are having a lovely day, a lovely evening. Today's episode, and you guys have seen the thumbnail, is going to be about some more draft stuff, but I also want to dive into Bo Nix and his top 30 visit with the Seattle Seahawks over the weekend. As you guys saw, and we'll touch on this to kind of start the show, Spencer Rattler, South Carolina quarterback, who also is in Seattle today visiting with the Seahawks. I think I could say this with utmost certainty. I think the Seahawks are going to be drafting a quarterback. I don't know if that's going to be in the first round. I don't know if that's going to be on day 2. But, I mean, Seattle's going to leave the draft with a quarterback or two. I think it's inevitable. You only have 30 visits, right, when it comes to these prospects in the weeks leading up to the draft. And so to use up multiple visits on multiple quarterbacks, I think that's a pretty clear indicator of what's going on here. I just want to real quick in the chat. I don't know if he's still here, but Austin, my good brother, man. Shout out to Austin for the fire thumbnail. I'm going to remove myself from the screen for just a second. I just want to give y'all a quick look. Austin, my brother, man. Shout out to you for the thumbnail. And as per usual, man, you're one of the driving forces behind these shows with these fire graphics and thumbnails that you keep putting out for me. So yeah, he's still in the building, man. What's up? I'm gonna leave here for just a second, and let me put this thumbnail back on the screen because, man, y'all got to see this. Y'all got to see this for sure. Man, y'all mean to tell me that ain't fire? Sheesh, man. I'm gonna go to some of you guys here in the chat though. As you guys know, I love interacting with y'all. I love putting everybody's comments up on the screen. We got Deshaun Baker in the building. Steezy, my guy, was good. Deshaun is saying Chase Claypool coming next. Huge rotational player. He is also in Seattle, and he did visit with the Seahawks earlier today. Could be a quality depth piece. But because he doesn't return kicks, because he doesn't return punts, he has almost zero value on special teams. I'm not sure what the chances are, what the likelihood is of him being on the official 53-man roster when all is said and done. But at the same time, Chase Claypool and I, we the same age. We're both 25 years old. He has shown potential and promise in the league before. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if the signing is going to materialize even after visiting today, just because this upcoming draft is so stacked at wide receiver. But Deshaun, you could potentially be up to something. But I appreciate you for tuning in and for taking the time to always show love and always tapping in, man. For real, it's a lot more appreciated than you know. We also got Jackie Reyes in the building saying hello and good evening. And she hopes that I'm having a wonderful Tuesday. I'm having a great, blessed Tuesday. I hope you're having the same. I know here in Seattle, the weather has been beautiful. The sun is out. It's warm. It's that time of the year, y'all. So for those of you guys taking the time to join in and tapping in with the stream tonight, it means a lot more to me than you know, for real. We also got Dune Moose in the building saying Steezy Dune. What up, Dune? Now that your name kind of, I guess, rings that bell, a lot of people, a lot of the homies have been talking about the movie Dune too. And so I don't know if that's your real name. Dune is pretty cool though, but just Dune, the word Dune, it kind of reminds me of the movie. If you guys have seen that movie, let me know what you think, man. Now I'm starting to think I need to go watch it myself. So Dune Moose, I appreciate you for tapping in, man, for real. We got All Around Sports also in the building saying, let's go Steezy, man. All Around Sports always showing love, man. I appreciate you, All Around Sports, for real. And then Austin, man, my guy, the GOAT, man. Ah, man, you over here hyping me up, man. I appreciate it, though, brother. Yo. Yeah. Okay, loud and clear. My bad, y'all. I was tripping. I thought the audio was tweaking out for a little bit. But All Around Sports here is saying Isaiah Simmons re-signed with the Giants, so he's out of the picture. Ah, man. I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, I was pounding the table. I was ranting. I wanted him in Seattle. I think I also told Austin about that. And so, man, that's sheesh. Yo. Hey, Austin, if you're still in the building, man, All Around Sports, how do you make thumbnails like that? Talk to Austin over here. Talk to Austin right here. Austin, man, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, Austin, so correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Blatnick or is it Blatnick? But All Around Sports, if you're still here, you're asking, I'm not the one making these thumbnails. Like I said, I'm giving a big shout out to my brother right here, to my good brother, Austin Bladen, who is saying, appreciate you, bro. Man, I appreciate you. But it looks like somebody here is potentially interested in maybe getting thumbnails made. And so All Around Sports, definitely hit up my guy Austin right here. Hit up Austin. Sheesh. But Austin is wondering, you think drafting Bo Nix could be polarizing for Seahawks fans? Seattle hates, bro. Honestly, bro, like I told you, in my text earlier today, I think initially it's obviously, yes, going to be polarizing just because he has been, part of the opposition, having played for Oregon these last couple of years, being the bitter rivals that they are of the UW Huskies, most definitely. But at the same time, if he ends up balling out for the Seattle Seahawks, if he ends up, or whatever team, I don't think it's necessarily going to be the Seahawks, but if he were to be drafted by the Seahawks, yes, initially, but at the end of the day, winning cures all, play on the field cures a lot. And so I think when you kind of combine those two things, if he ends up having success in the NFL, it's not going to matter where he went to college. I wouldn't be completely against it. It just has to happen in the right circumstances, right? And so to answer your question, Austin, yes, initially, but inevitably, I think it'll wear off. Jackie is saying she's excited every Tuesday for this video / live stream. Well, Jackie, you are one of my biggest supporters, one of my biggest followers, and for that, I can't thank you enough. So thank you, Jackie. My brother James in the building, man. I haven't talked to you in a while, James. I hope you're doing well, my good brother in Christ, bro. I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. I hope you're having a blessed evening, my brother, and tell Pops, tell Unc I said what's good, man, for real. It's been too long. Also tapped in on Facebook. I don't know if okay, no, this is still James, but man, showing love on multiple platforms, man, that means a lot. I appreciate you, James. I appreciate you, James. We got Deshaun Baker saying, I enjoy your show and ideas. The Hawks fans in the Carolinas appreciation. Okay, I think Deshaun Baker meant to continue typing here, so I'll finish out the rest of your comment when you send in, I guess, the next part of this comment. And All Around Sports is saying, yeah, I asked because I'm growing my channel. I'm a Seahawks fan like you. I love sports. Hey, well, I'll get you connected with my guy, Austin, if Austin is still here. If not, I will get you connected with him if you are interested, if he's able to do that, of course. And so, but yeah, All Around Sports, I'm all about supporting, other up-and-coming content creators, other channels, especially sports channels. And so you come to the right spot, my friend. I appreciate that. All right, well, I'm going to come back to you guys in the chat. I might or might not have mentioned this at the top of the show, but today's live stream is going to be a little different. I'm not going to be on, or at least I'm not planning on being on for like 2 hours, an hour and a half, over an hour. I know I say that every single week, but I'm going to try to keep this one at less than an hour just because there aren't too many things to touch on. There are some topics, obviously some trending topics that we are going to talk about that I want to talk about, and I want to get your guys' opinions. I do want to take some time to answer some questions, but yeah, as of right now, man, it's man, I'm gonna just get right into it, y'all. I'm gonna just get right into it. But real quick though, As per usual, man, all super chats are greatly appreciated. And I'm going to leave this down here as a ticker. But in regards to super chats, whoever finishes tonight with the highest donation total will receive a free dry fit and embroidered team Steezy tee. Let me show you guys real quick what that looks like here. So if you guys work out, if you want to look good at the gym, these tees are the perfect workout / gym tees. They're fitted. And so, if you got some muscle, those muscles will most definitely show. And I know a lot of you guys out there are big fans of sports. And I know a lot of you guys out there also like to hit the gym and work out. And so one more time, all super chats are greatly appreciated. And in regards to tonight's super chats, whoever finishes tonight with the highest donation total will receive a free dry fit and embroidered team Steezy tee. Last week's winner was Miss Alina Dahl, and I'm still in the process of sending her shirt, but I do want to get as many people as I can rocking these tees. Like I said, this is completely free, and whoever finishes tonight with the highest donation total in regards to super chats will receive a free tee. All right, guys, I do want to start this off with, and I talked about this earlier, but South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler is in Seattle today for a top 30 visit with the Seahawks, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. I found this very interesting, but Rattler has visited with over a dozen NFL teams thus far. So clearly there's a lot of interest in Spencer Rattler, who was once regarded as a potential top 5, top 10 pick in the NFL draft. And while that's not likely to happen this time around, I still think what he's done over at South Carolina these last couple of years merits consideration from a lot of teams of being drafted on day 2. Now, some projections are saying that he's going to be drafted potentially round 4, round 5. But I think the fact that he's visited with that many teams, I mean, there is no way he's lasting until day 3. I think at the very least he will be drafted before the end of day 2, meaning before the end of rounds 2 or 3. And so I thought that was very interesting. I haven't looked too much more into it, but I do want to get your guys' thoughts on Spencer Rattler visiting with the Seattle Seahawks. Heck, who knows? Maybe as we speak right now, that man could still be in Seattle. And look, as you guys can see on the thumbnail, Seattle could potentially look to double dip at quarterback this offseason. I do have a question that I want to ask you guys later on, but as it pertains to the whole double dipping at quarterback, look, there's a new regime in place. This is essentially a new regime, a brand new coaching staff, and there's just a bunch of new voices, right? And so I think when you're kind of starting over damn near from scratch, yeah, there are holdovers in place, right? Like a Geno Smith, who can hold down the job, who I think is still a viable starting quarterback in the National Football League, but he wasn't handpicked or selected by Mike Macdonald and his new coaching staff. Yes, John Schneider was there when he was brought in, and especially these last couple of years, as he has been starting for the Seattle Seahawks, and this isn't a knock or an indictment on a Geno Smith. But again, when you're a new regime coming in and you're kind of starting from scratch, you're kind of building this team from the ground up, obviously you're going to need a quarterback, right? And so I think for Seattle to kind of double dip, like I said, Geno Smith was somebody that they inherited. Geno Smith was not somebody that they handpicked or selected to be a quarterback for this team moving forward. So to trade for a Sam Howell, I said this all along, and I've been saying this since Sam Howell was brought in via trade. That does not prevent, or I don't think that means that Seattle isn't going to draft a quarterback. Yes, right now it doesn't look, how would I phrase this? As far as Seattle's draft capital, right, the 16th overall pick is obviously a lot more valuable than what it might seem like on surface. And so Seattle, yes, doesn't have a whole bunch of draft picks, but I do believe that when all is said and done, there's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing. Seattle could potentially trade back. I know Seattle's going to acquire more picks. And so that being said, you can't leave your first year on the job and building a new team without a quarterback or two, right? You got to have options at the game's most important position. I do believe that Seattle has so much talent littered across the roster, right? At wide receiver, at cornerback, at running back, right? And so there's a lot of pieces to work with talent hasn't been an issue these last couple of years. There have been other issues, right, that have been taking place, but it's not necessarily talent. And so, yes, the offensive line needs work. Yes, there needs to be linebackers in place for the long haul. But again, when you're a new regime and when you're coming in and you don't have your hand-picked or your hand-selected quarterback is obviously the most important position in the game. And so for Seattle to double dip at the position, whether or not Seattle drafts a Bo Nix on top of having traded for a Sam Howell, who knows? Seattle could draft a Spencer Rattler. Seattle could draft still a Michael Penix. As unlikely as I think that is, that's still very feasible, right? And who knows? Maybe a Drake May or Jane Daniels falls. We never truly know. But going back to the whole double dipping at quarterback, I think that's only the right thing to do for a franchise like the Seahawks, who are essentially starting over. But I do want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions in the chat. I will go back to you guys over here. We got Deshaun saying appreciate you. No, I appreciate you for tuning in, man. All Around Sports. Austin, if you're still here, this message is for you. But All Around Sports is saying, at Austin, if you can subscribe, then we can get in contact. I have an X account as well. We got my brother Hamza in the building saying, what's up, brother? Hamza, man, as always, I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. It means more than you know, for real. So thank you, Hamza. Thank you. Also, Steezy, if you want to contact me to do a video, please let me know. All Around Sports. Hey, All Around Sports, all you got to do is shoot me a DM, whether that's on X or on Instagram. You can find me at Steezy A. Smith, and we could definitely talk about doing that in the near future. I'd love to do that. Rattler is a good player because he upset Tennessee and Clemson in the same year that were top 5 in the AP poll that year. He will be a good option, but I think Howell can ball. I agree. I actually agree with both statements. I think you can agree with both. And then we got Jackie dropping the emojis. I appreciate that, Jackie. I appreciate that. Dune Moose. I think Geno hasn't played to his physical potential. To me, his shortcomings are his mental restrictions. Adding quarterback depth will put pressure on him to perform better than he has. Well said. I agree. I mean, last year, the offensive line wasn't nearly ideal, right? And with the injuries and with the defense having been as bad as it has been these last couple of years, that's just not really an environment conducive to a quarterback succeeding at the highest of levels, right? And so, I agree with you. I'd like to see Geno Smith behind an above-average offensive line. I'd like to see Geno Smith with an above-average defense. I'd like to see Geno Smith with a coaching staff that is a little more creative, a little more innovative, right? And a coaching staff that's able to adapt. And so I agree, Dune. And even if Seattle were to draft a quarterback, even if Sam Howell were to really impress in training camp, I don't think any of that means that Geno Smith is not going to be the starting quarterback this coming season. I do think that Geno Smith is the starter unless an injury takes place, right? And I'm going to knock on wood here, but unless an injury takes place, I do have to say this. Geno Smith is the QB1 for the 2024-2025 season. Let me just get that out the way. And then Dune is also saying, also think of San Fran when they went through Trey and Jimmy and they ended up with Purdy. Right. Depth at quarterback isn't a bad thing. Exactly. And this kind of takes me back to when Russell Wilson was brought in. Russell Wilson was drafted. Matt Flynn that year was signed in free agency. And I believe there was a third quarterback on the roster. If you guys can remember, or if anybody here in the chat is able to remember because I know there was also one more quarterback. I highly doubt that Seattle went into training camp or into the preseason that year, which is Matt Flynn and Russell Wilson. But there was a holdover. I don't remember if it was Tavares Jackson. I know it wasn't Matt Hasselbeck. I don't think it was Charlie Whitehurst. But if you guys, for anybody in the chat that knows what I'm talking about, the same year that Seattle signed Matt Flynn in free agency, drafted Russell Wilson, there was also another quarterback that was held over from the year prior. And so, again, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that Seattle double dips at quarterback this year, along with the holdover that is Geno Smith, right? And so, again, with the new regime coming into place, you can't ever have too many options at quarterback. And what was it doing? This is a very great point. Also think of San Fran when they went through Trey and Jimmy, ended up with Purdy. So, yes, I agree 1,000%. Depth at quarterback isn't a bad thing. All Around Sports is saying, I believe the Seahawks are going to draft an offensive lineman, primarily Troy Fautanu, right? And we went over prospects that Seattle could potentially look at in last week's show, right? We talked about Troy Fautanu. We talked about Talise Fuaga. We talked about Jackson Powers Johnson. We talked about Graham Barton. We talked about J.C. Latham. There's options, a bunch of options. And so if you're in need of offensive linemen, man, this is the draft for you. And if I'm working in that Seahawks front office, I'm licking my chops. And I wouldn't mind trading down unless there's somebody there at 16 that you can't get if you trade down. We got Rhea in the building saying, what's good, Calvin? Man, always showing love, Rhea, man. One of my favorites. I appreciate you for always taking the time. And, like I always tell you, your support means more than you know. So, Maria, I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. And, I'm happy to have you here. Hamza is saying, unless it's in the later rounds, I don't want us to draft a quarterback. Look, I'm all about value. I'm all about taking BPA, right? Taking the best player available, as long as it's not at a position that's already completely full, if that makes sense. And so if Seattle were to somehow acquire more picks by trading down or by trading future capital, by potentially trading a current player on the roster, then that kind of changes the calculus of things a little bit, right? But given Seattle's current situation as far as the draft picks, then yes, I'm opposed to Seattle drafting a quarterback in the first round or two. But again, there are so many scenarios. There's so many different things that I see playing out, right? Different situations that I see or potentially see playing out. And so Seattle, let's say Seattle traded down, right? And had a pick towards the bottom of the first round and then an early second, or had a pick later in the first round and then a later second. Then let's say a Bo Nix were to fall, I wouldn't be opposed to a Bo Nix being drafted with one of those picks that were acquired by trading down, right? But again, and I can't reiterate this enough, given the current structure of what Seattle has as far as its draft capital this year, then yes, I'm opposed to it. But again, I'm all about value here. And I'm never married to any of my statements or to the things, to my takes and whatnot. It's always fluid. So I do just want to put that out there for those of you guys that want to quote me later on. Again, I'm all about value. So that's the key word moving forward. All Around Sports is saying we need protection for Geno if we have a chance to compete in the West with the Niners. 1,000%. And I just kind of dove into this earlier. I mean, the skill positions are pretty much set. I think Noah Fant's potential is still untapped. And Mike McDonald and Ryan Grubb, these are the right guys to be able to bring that out of him. Again, the offense, while haven't shown improvement, right, on the innovative side of things these last couple of years, it had also grown to become stale, right? And so at tight end, you have a Noah Fant. At the skill position, at the pass catcher, or at wide receiver, JSN, Todd Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jake Bobo, Laviska Shenault, Derek Young, D. Eskridge. There's so many options. Running back, K9, Zach Charbonnet. I think offensively, aside from quarterback, right? Let's just exclude quarterback. But offensively, aside from quarterback and the offensive line, Seattle pretty much has everything that you could possibly need or want, right? And so offensive line, yes, get that taken care of, and Seattle could be a contender as soon as 2026, perhaps 2025. Oh, okay, real quick. So Deshaun Baker saying it was Tavares Jackson, right? And so real quick, so Tavares Jackson was a holdover, right? They signed a guy in free agency in a Matt Flynn, and then they drafted a Russell Wilson. Well, this year, if Seattle were to double dip at quarterback, you have your holdover in a Geno Smith, you have the guy that you're trading for in a Sam Howell, and then if Seattle were to draft a guy, whether that's a Bo Nix or a Spencer Rattler or whoever else in the later rounds, perhaps a Joe Milton, then it's a situation similar to what happened back then, right? I think you guys understand what I'm trying to get at, but double dipping at quarterback, again, it's not a bad idea. I know some people are opposed to it just because some people are higher on Sam Howell, but like Doom pointed out earlier in the show, you can never have too much depth at quarterback. San Fran thought they had a quarterback in Jimmy G. San Fran also thought they had a quarterback in Trey Lance. And then Brock Purdy was just there. Well, guess what? A couple years later, Brock Purdy's the one that's taking them to Super Bowls again. And so, for Seattle again to be able to, for them to experiment at quarterback, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. I really don't. All Around Sports. So also, Steezy, do I reply to one of your posts, or is there another way on X? So All Around Sports, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I don't want to make it seem like I'm, alienating everybody else and it's just like a me to you conversation. But DM me on Instagram. Send me a DM on Instagram and I'll connect you with Austin. I'll do that. Deshaun is saying he's a gunslinger that needs lots of work, 2 years away from being ready. Okay, so now I'm seeing Charlie Wires and Tavares Jackson. Which one is it? Well, either or, you guys get the point. All right, so Not Chief is also in the building, man. What's up, little bro? He said, "What up, Steezy? We here." Sure, well, I'm here in front of the mic, but as per usual, man, I appreciate you for taking the time, Not Chief. One of my biggest supporters, and you've been there these last couple of years. So, Not Chief, I hope you're having a great night. I know you're over there in the ATL, but let me know how the weather's looking like over there. I know over here, it's real sunny, it's real warm, and I hope you're having same sort of weather over there. But thanks for taking the time, man. Hamza is saying, I know it's not a need, but Cooper can be special with Spoon in our secondary. Oh, Cooper DeJean from Iowa. Oh, 1,000%. I mean, there's just no way, though, that I see him fall into the second round. Now, if he were to fall to the bottom of the first, and like I said, Seattle were to acquire more picks by trading down, then maybe that becomes more feasible. But right now, I can't fathom that ever happening. I mean, I think Reek is going to bounce back. And so Seattle already has two potential all-pros at cornerback. Trey Brown, I'm still very, very high on. Michael Jackson, I think one of the better reserve corners in the National Football League. Artie Burns, Kobe Bryant, we don't know what's going to happen there, whether he's going to stay at safety or at cornerback, but he is a defensive back. And so Seattle right now is just absolutely loaded at cornerback. Perhaps Seattle takes a corner later in the draft, but Hamza, I do understand what you're saying. Cooper DeJean, man, he's different, man. He a beast. He a real dog. We got Rav in the building, man. I appreciate you for taking the time, man. I'm happy to have you here. Oh, shoot. Yo, we got our first super chat of the building, man. Yo, this one, Alina. Oh, man, this is crazy. First off, Alina, I hope you're having a wonderful, blessed Tuesday evening tonight. But Alina coming in with the $50 super chat, man. This is, oh my gosh, Alina. I can't thank you enough. I just want to say I'm happy to have you here, and I really, really appreciate the super chat. This is sheesh. But Alina, okay, so Alina, let me address what you're trying to get at here. Did you see Pat McAfee's show yesterday talking about the UW Huskies and Coach Belichick and the impact of Coach Carroll and his dad? Love talking about the dogs. Having so many former NFL coaches will help the dog's future. Okay. So, man, Alina, 1,000%. I mean, as you guys might or might not know by now, Bill Belichick's son, Steve Belichick, is now the defensive coordinator for UW and for head coach Jed Fish. And so Pete Carroll, his son is also over there. Brendan Carroll, he's on the staff, I think, as the offensive coordinator. And so just having legends around. I mean, Pete Carroll's already been in and out of the building. Yes, it's going to help the dog's future, most certainly and most definitely. I mean, we've seen the last couple of years what they've been able to do. Kalen DeBoer is the head coach of Alabama now, for crying out loud. And so UW is already on the map. But to have these NFL legends backing, this team, ooh, Alina, I think you bring up a great point. But it is real cool seeing Bill Belichick and his son and Pete Carroll and his son on the same coaching staff for a team that's had so much success these last couple of years. I think that's real dope, but they've done so much already these last couple of years to kind of put themselves on the map. It's kind of harder to even put themselves more on the map than they already have, but obviously this can't hurt, right? But Alina, I did send you a message on Facebook, and so if you're still here, if we can get that, I guess, sorted out. I didn't mean to make you wait as long as I did. I'm kind of just now getting around to that message. But Alina, if you can get back to me on Facebook later tonight, we will handle. Because I do owe you a shirt. I owe you something for winning last week. And so, Alina, but again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, truly. It really means a lot. Thank you. All around sports, our secondary is already competitive. Maybe it's safety. Right. Ravent is saying, much love from Hawaii, my dude. Man, that's crazy, man. I don't know if you know, but I'm from Hawaii myself. And so, man, it's real cool to see somebody from the 808, tuned in and tapped in. I appreciate you for tuning in, bro. For real. Thank you. I know there's a lot of Seahawks fans over there in Hawaii. So I need to go back home soon. We got James in the building saying, I was at the clinic. Oh, right. That's right. Okay. Listen to Bill address what worked for his teams. Also watch practice. The Dogs are going to be a physical team on defense. Questions on offense, but we will see. I think that's a great point. But defensively, yeah, I mean, we see Belichick being there, with Pete Carroll being there. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the future holds for the Dogs. I think Jed Fish was one of the more underrated hires of the offseason. And I truly can't wait to see what he's going to bring to this program moving forward. But James, I appreciate the comment, and I agree with you 100%. Yes, on offense, it's going to be a little questionable, but we'll see what ends up happening on that side of the football. We got Young Meech 3 times in the building saying, my bad, I'm late, Steezy. I was at the gym. Hey, you are good, man. You are good. Thanks for tapping in, brother. And I hope you was able to get them gains in. I'm actually about to hit the gym after tonight's show. So keep getting that work in, though, bro. Keep getting that work in. Keep getting that work in. We have another super chat from Miss Alina Dahl herself, man. $5 super chat. Alina, again, I couldn't thank you any more than I have been from the bottom of my heart, though. Nothing but gratitude, really. I appreciate the super chat. But Alina is saying there's a picture of Coach Belichick rocking all Husky gear. Love it. Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I think it's kind of made its rounds on social media. But, again, it helps that his son is the defense coordinator for UW. But I do got to say, purple and gold look good on Bill Belichick. It really does. And Alina's saying, will do. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alina. Rav Vend is saying, yeah, bro, we got a lot. We got a lot more whiners here, but we hold it down. Ooh. See, a couple years ago, I did go back home because I'm over from Oahu. And, you know, I did see a bunch of Seahawks fans over there. I did see some 49er fans, though, so you're not lying. But, yeah, keep holding it down. Keep holding it down. And then when I get there, oh, yeah, we're really going to hold it down. Not Chief is saying, just got back from the gym, too, boss. Man, everybody love hitting the gym at this time. That's great, man. I love to hear that. You guys putting that work in, man. Shoot. Keep getting it in. Keep getting it in. Keep getting it in. All right, spent a lot of time there kind of getting back to y'all, but where did I leave off? Okay, so I left off with Spencer Rattler. Real quick, in case you missed it, though, and I'm going to get back into the flow of the show. I will get back to you guys in the comments. If you have any questions that you want me to answer, I will get to those. But for right now, I just want to touch on this all around sports, or was it Dune Moose? No, Deshaun Baker. I apologize. It was Deshaun Baker who brought this up initially. But according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, in case you missed it, though, free agent wide receiver Chase Claypool visited with the Seahawks earlier today. I don't know what to really make of this other than Chase Claypool is still young, and we're actually the same age. We're both 25 years old, and it was only 4 years ago where he had 11 touchdowns as a rookie and almost 900 yards. But it seems like he's fallen off a cliff since then. And if he can't contribute on special teams, if he's not going to show those flashes that he had his rookie year, I just don't know if he's really going to be a guy that makes the 53-man roster. But for Seattle to be kicking the tires, for Seattle to even inquire, right, I think that's a great thing. And I don't know if anything really materializes, off of that. If he does get signed, then I think that's good for him. But he has spent time with the Bears. He has spent time with the Dolphins these last couple of seasons. And according to what I've heard, there have been some locker room issues, right, with the Chase Claypool attitude stuff. I mean, I'm not going to touch too much on that just because I can't confirm any of that to be true. But if any of that is true, though, if any of the locker room stuff, being a cancer, being hard to coach, and kind of just not being a complete team player, if those things are to be true, if he's cleaned that up, and if he's not going to bring that with him to Seattle, then yes, I said kick the tires and have him hang with the team throughout the offseason, see what he still has in the tank, and see if Seattle could untap or tap into some of that untapped potential. But if he's going to bring all that attitude and whatever was going on in his last couple of stops to Seattle, then no thank you. No thank you. One more piece of news that I did want to touch on before we get into the bulk of the show. So in case you missed it, the Seahawks have signed offensive tackle Max Percher, who spent time with the Detroit Lions last season as part of the NFL International Pathways program. He was with the Lions last year, and he also spent 2 years with the LA Rams the 2 seasons prior. I don't know too much about Max Percher, but I thought that was important to share with you guys. I will kind of get more into the film study as the offseason goes along, but I do like how Seattle isn't content with its additions in free agency on the offensive line. I'm not sure if he's really going to be a viable candidate to even make the 53-man roster, but if he's able to develop and if he's able to show more flashes than he has these last couple of years, then I think this would have been a better signing than, initially looked at. But Again, one more time, in case you missed it, the Seahawks have signed offensive tackle Max Percher, who has spent time as a part of the NFL International Pathways program. But if you guys have any more information to kind of contribute to that, again, I wasn't able to do as much deep diving as I wanted to, but I thought it was important to share with you guys. Before we get into Bo Nix and before we kind of get more into the draft, one more time, I will go back to you guys here in the comments, in the chat. Looks like there's a lot, and so I definitely want to make sure I touch on some of those. Nachief is saying there's a bunch of Steeler and Niner fans in Mexico. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, Dune Moose is saying, I'm from Northwest Alaska and became a Seahawks fan when 3 players visited my elementary school. Wow, this is dope. I didn't expect to see stories of how people became Seahawks fans, but that's real cool. And I've talked about this on the show before, but a lot of the people that are subscribed, a lot of people that follow my work and that support my work, a lot of them aren't even in Seattle. And so to see a lot of you guys supporting what I do from outside of Seattle, I think that's real, real cool. And again, just there's nothing but the utmost of gratitude, truly. So in regards to Chase Claypool, Not Chief is saying, low-key hope we sign him. Okay, I think he could be like a D. Eskridge, but better. Interesting. I mean, look, D. Eskridge, I think, actually has real value in Seattle, not just as a wide receiver, but as a kick returner and a punt returner. Like I just touched on, Chase Claypool, unless he's been working on that in the last couple of months, I don't see him being a kick returner or a punt returner. And so if he's not going to make the team, or if he's going to be on the team but not offer anything on special teams, he's going to have to be dominant, right, at wide receiver, at least more dominant than some of the other guys on the depth chart. But like we talked about, wide receiver is one of the more stacked positions on the roster. I'm excited to see what Jake Bobo is going to do in year 2. Yes, Laviska Shenault is going to be the kick returner, could potentially return punts as well. But I like what I saw his first couple years in Jacksonville when he was used more as a receiver / gadget type of player on offense. I think he could provide a little bit more value than what people are expecting. But Nachi, that's a very interesting comment. I didn't think a comparison to D. Eskridge would be in the works, but interesting. Hamza is saying new water boy. Yes, sir. Hey, I ain't saying he did. Jackie's saying she's never been to Hawaii. Well, Jackie, I'm telling you right now, whenever you do decide to go on vacation, I think Hawaii should definitely be up there as far as the list of destinations that you're willing to consider. Now Chief is saying, I'm surprised Quandre Diggs and Jamal hasn't been signed yet. Honestly, I think that's probably going to happen after the draft. I mean, right now we're like less than 3 weeks away from the draft. And yes, while it isn't the deepest class in regards to the safety position, it's still a long ways to go as it pertains to the offseason. Season don't start till September. I'm surprised too, but again, the safety market has just been oversaturated. It still is. Justin Simmons is still a free agent, for crying out loud. But eventually these guys will sign. Deshaun Baker is asking your thoughts of a position change for him, meaning Chase Claypool, maybe tight end. Ooh, that's a great point. Honestly, I've never really thought about that. I don't know if he has enough bulk or enough mass. I don't know if he has enough play strength. I don't know if he's powerful enough to be a tight end. But, man, that's a great point, though. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that he could potentially make the move to tight end? I'm not so sure. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't count on it. I mean, he'd have to add a lot more muscle. But I don't know if he was ever the best run blocker to begin with. I don't know if it's an effort thing or a desire type of thing, but it's a great point, but I don't know. I don't know about that. We got King in the building saying, oh, yeah, brother. Man, King, man, I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in, brother. You know, it's always love, man. Thank you. Thank you, brother. We got Young Meech saying Sam Howell is giving me Baker Mayfield vibes for some reason. Well, I've been hyping up Sam Howell since even before he was drafted by the Commanders. And with the Sam Howell, yes, he is a Baker Mayfield. I mean, a lot of analysts, a lot of people in the media were comparing Sam Howell to Baker Mayfield, you know, coming out of the draft. I think he's a lot more mobile, a lot more athletic than a Baker Mayfield. But as far as having that gunslinger mentality, as far as being unapologetic, right, about the way that he plays and the way that he goes about things on the football field, 1,000%. And with the season that Baker Mayfield just had, you know, I wouldn't be mad at that. If that's the ceiling, but then maybe with a little extra on top, right, with the rushing ability, I wouldn't be mad at it, truly. All Around Sports is saying my dad was a Seahawks fan. That's how I began to watch the Seahawks. Hey, same here. I mean, we did end up moving to Seattle, and that obviously played a part in my dad being a fan of the Seahawks, but it definitely helped that he was a Seahawks fan. My grandpa and some other family members were as well, but I feel you there. I feel you there, All Around Sports. Hey, yo, we have somebody here I haven't talked to in a while, man. We got Golden Seahawk. My guy, man. Colin, how are you doing? Saying, what up, Steezy? Long time no see, man. Long time no talk. Colin, I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I know we talked about this like a while ago. This might have been like a year or two ago. I talked about having you on the show, and I still want to make that happen. I still want to make that a reality. So, Colin, whenever you had time, shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you have me. And let's try to get this going, man. I've been trying to have you on the show for a while. I miss doing those roundtables with you and with Martin and everybody else with NorbCam. But man, happy to have you here, Colin, for real. For real. Okay, so All Around Sports, I'm just so excited for next season. This is the first time we've seen a big change. I think we're going to grow into a threat for years to come. Hey, I agree. Rap Vent is saying if you come to Hawaii, go to Oahu to party, and then come to Maui for the beaches. Well, I am from Oahu, and so they got some nice beaches there too, but I haven't been to Maui yet. So I will take that into consideration, and we're going to make that happen, Rav. We're going to make that happen. All Around Sports is asking, which tight end do you think the Seahawks should look at in the draft? Well, Seattle actually had a visit, and we will touch on this later in the show, but Penn State tight end Theo Johnson, I think he could be had on day 3. That's a guy that I'm looking at. Seattle's also had a visit with tight end Jaheim Bell, but right now I'm really looking at Theo Johnson. I think that he could be a guy that could thrive in Seattle. Great size, great energy, versatile, can catch passes, can run block. Theo Johnson right now will be my guy and the answer to that question. Rav Vince is asking, what was the reasoning of letting Diggs go? I think there's a multitude of reasons, but right now, off the top of my head, definitely to save cap space and probably just not being the best fit for the scheme and for the system moving forward. King is saying Sam Howell is nice. Oh, he most definitely is. Look, again, I thought Sam Howell was going to be a day 2 pick, but he ended up signing all the way to the 5th round. Yes, it looks bad that last year he led the league in interceptions, but he also attempted the most passes, right? And last year was his first full year as a starter behind one of the league's worst offensive lines and respectfully one of the worst coaching staffs, below average run game. Yes, he had some receivers to work with, but the defense was also one of the worst in football. And so aside from having receivers to work with, he just had one of the worst supporting casts, period. And so I don't think that we could judge him in his first full year as a starter and look at him leading the league in picks and just say, yo, he's not going to work out in Seattle. The system, the environment, the structure, everything is so much different, and everything is an upgrade in Seattle. And so, King, you bring up a great point. Sam Howell is nice, and he's only going to get nicer. Alina Doll with another super chat, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, at this point, man, it looks like Alina is running away with the super chat. What would I call it? It's not a competition, but with what I was offering for whoever has the most amount of super chat dollars, it looks like Alina Doll is running away with this. But Alina, truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the super chats. Alina is saying my dad, brother, and I went to a home show at the Kingdom, and we were walking around. My dad accidentally bumped into a guy. It was our Seahawks quarterback, Dave Krieg. Really nice guy. Man, that's dope. That's dope. You know, I haven't been fortunate enough to be able to meet a lot of these Seahawk legends, but to meet any of them, I think to me that'd be so cool. But Alina, thank you for sharing. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for all your support. Really, you're one of my favorites, truly. CJ King, man, what's going on? CJ King in the building. Number 37 is my reason. I'm from Camden. MJ, go Hawks. See, yo, again, another person not from Seattle, but, you know, supporting and following my work, man. That's dope. CJ King, man, I appreciate you for tapping in, man, for real. That's love, man. That's love. Young Meech said, I'm glad we outbid LA for Sam. John was doing his thing. 1,000%. I remember when Seattle first traded for Sam Howell, man, so many Seahawks fans were disgruntled. So many Seahawks fans hated it. I loved it. And the fact that Seattle was able to outbid the Rams, a division rival, for the services of Sam Howell. Oh, even better. Even better. Okay, so Colin is saying, yeah, bro, it's been too long. We got to figure something out. How you been, Steezy? Hey, Colin. Yeah, we will figure this out. We'll talk. We'll talk in the DMs. But man, I've been blessed by the best, Colin. I just been trying to chase greatness every single day, trying to be a better version of myself every single day, trying to get closer to God, trying to work on different relationships. I'm just trying to be a better overall human being, really. But everything's been going great. Everything's been lovely. I'm just, what can I say, man? I'm beyond blessed by the best. I hope you can say the same, Colin. And it's really nice to see you. It's really nice to see you here. Truly, it's somewhat nostalgic in a way. I know I don't want to sound like, oh, it's been forever since we last talked or whatnot, but man, it's definitely nostalgic seeing you here. But Colin, as always, though, I really appreciate the support, little bro. And man, keep being you. Keep being you. Alina saying Maui is beautiful. I've driven almost the entire island, west and east. Man, now y'all gonna get me over here booking a ticket to Maui this summer, man. You guys over here talking about Maui. Hey, I can't wait to visit Maui. I will say that. Shoot. Okay. Not Chief is saying, though, Sam Howell also led the league in passing for a minute. Right. It was up until week 10. But entering week 10, Sam Howell was a league leader in passing yards. I will say this, though. I mean, they were behind in a lot of games, and the defense was one of the worst in football. And so some of those yards, yeah, it's a little deceiving, but nevertheless, he was leading the league in passing yards at one point. That's a great point, not Chief. Man, Sports PSP, man. Parnell St. Pro, man. What's good, my brother? Parnell in the building, man, at Sports PSP. Like I talked about on previous shows, Sports PSP covers literally everything in the sports world, in hip-hop culture. Pop culture, I'm gonna just keep it at that. Sports and the pop culture / hip hop. Man, y'all show some love, man. At Sports PSP on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But Sports PSP, my brother, man, I appreciate the shout out. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. He's saying like and subscribe. And Sports PSP is also asking, who should Washington draft? Well, we talked about this on the show last week when I was on with Guru. If I had the GM cap for the Commanders, and so I think your guys' GM is Adam Peters. If I had his cap, I'm taking Jaden Daniels just because of who I have at offensive coordinator, right? You have a Cliff Kingsbury, but I do think that if honed and coached up properly, I do think that Drake May could potentially have a higher ceiling. Yes, he's a little more erratic. Yes, he's more turnover and mistake prone, but I do think that Drake May has a higher ceiling. But if Cliff Kingsbury wasn't there, I would want Drake May in Washington, but because Cliff Kingsbury is there, then I would say Jaden Daniels. But Sports PSP, thanks for tapping in, my good brother, and I appreciate the super chat, for real. Thank you. Okay, now Chief is saying, Steezy, your Heat beat my Hawks in double overtime. Can't wait for Trey to come back. Oh, let's go Heat, baby! Yeah, man, that's a good dub. We did lose to the Pacers the other night, and so we definitely needed this dub. And Trae Young, though, he's set to come back real soon. I think he'll come back before the playoffs start. And if you guys are keep that spot in the play-in tournament, I think he's going to have to come back. But, man, thanks for the update, though. I didn't even know that. Deshaun Baker is saying, I watched Sam Howell. That guy is a dog and has been one since high school. Right. I mean, yo, back when he was at UNC in college, at one point, he was a Heisman candidate. At one point, he was viewed as a slam dunk first-round pick, a guy that could have gone in the top 10. And so, man, a lot of people, they're not seeing what I'm seeing in Sam Howell, but I'm glad that you see it. I've talked to a lot of Commander fans. I've seen just Commander fans on social media talking about how much they're going to miss Sam Howell. But Sam Howell, y'all, I promise y'all, is a lot better than what we saw last year. CJ King is saying Sam cooked us. That played a part of it. Yeah, but at the same time, and this is just me nitpicking because I was at that game, a lot of his yards were off of yards after the catch opportunities. I remember Brian Robinson taking one to the house for like 40, 50 yards. And guys Seattle just had a hard time tackling that game. And so guys were just roaming free after the catch. Just not a lot of resistance there. And so the stats, yeah, while on the surface, it looks like he had a day. a lot of that does have to do with his pass catchers and running backs because a lot of that stuff was after the catch. But still, nevertheless, he did cook against us. That did happen. And the now Chief is agreeing. Nah, bro, Washington going to get Jay and Daniels for sure. Right. Jackie Race is saying good night, chat. I have to get up tomorrow morning at 3:30 for a 5 a.m. Ooh, that's tough. But Jackie, I hope you sleep well. Sweet dreams. And, man, have a great day at work tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. All right, y'all. So I did spend some time with you guys here in the chat. I do want to go back to what this show is supposed to be about. Like I talked about, Bo Nix, right? Let's just get straight to it. In case you missed it, the Seahawks hosted Oregon quarterback Bo Nix this past weekend, per NFL reporter Aaron Wilson. Like you guys can see in the description of this video, every NFL team only has 30 pre-draft visits, right? They call them top 30 visits in the weeks leading up to the NFL draft. So if you only have 30, obviously you're not going to be picking 30 times, right? But you're going to have a bunch of scenarios that you kind of simulated with the rest of the front office, with the coaching staff. And so you could end up with a variety of those players. But honestly, the point that I'm trying to get at, though, is you only have so many top 30 visits. And for Seattle to have used up 3, as of right now, Seattle has used up 3 of its top 30 visits on quarterbacks. Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler, and I got to double check his name here because it's not a name that I'm super familiar with. I'm just going to bring up this list. Quarterback John Rhys Plumlee. We'll go back to that later. But Seattle has spent 3 of its top 30 visits on quarterbacks. Again, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, and John Rhys Plumlee. I think I could say this definitively and with the utmost of certainty. Seattle is going to leave this draft with a quarterback or 2. Whether that happens on day 1, day 2, or day 3, it does not matter. I'm not even getting into undrafted free agency. I'm just saying that Seattle will leave this draft with a quarterback or 2 having been drafted. And with the Bo Nix, I just want to get into his NFL player comps real quick because I noticed that there was a lot of variance in his player comps. I've seen him compared to Andy Dalton. I've seen him compared to Russell Wilson, Seattle's very own Russell Wilson. I've seen him compared to Drew Brees. I've seen him compared to Jimmy Garoppolo, but a more mobile version. I've seen him compared to Tony Romo. Oh, I put Drew Brees there twice. Oopsie. But again, a lot of variance in Bo Nix's NFL player comps. He also had 38 rushing touchdowns in college. He set a bunch of records, an FBS record completion percentage of 77.4% last year. Had over 60 starts in his 5 years over at Auburn and at Oregon. I'm not sure if the ceiling is as high as a Drake May or Caleb Williams, right? But I think with what Bo Nix brings to the table, he can throw the deep ball. He's accurate. He's a leader of men. He's mobile. He could play out of structure. He plays within the designs of an offense and can play out of the designs of an offense. The footwork might not be where you want it to be, especially at this stage, at this age of his life/career. And maybe as a processor, there are question marks. But overall, when we think about the sort of quarterback that we would want leading our franchise in today's NFL, you want a guy that could succeed in structure, but also out of structure. You want a guy that could use his legs. You want a leader of men. You want a quarterback that's accurate, and you want a quarterback that's able to get it to his playmakers. And so I think with the Bo Nix, I wouldn't be mad if you were to land in Seattle. But I will say this. The most realistic scenario involving the Seahawks potentially drafting Bo Nix would only be, and I talked about this at the top of the show, would only be if the Seahawks were to trade down right from 16th overall. I think a list of teams that Seattle could potentially trade back with are the LA Rams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Bay Packers, the Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, or the Buffalo Bills. So Seattle were to trade down, acquire more capital towards the bottom of the first round, and then more day 2 capital, then I would suggest using one of those extra draft picks on a Bo Nix, all the while still accomplishing your goal and your need of getting guys on the offensive line. Because like I also talked about at the top of the show, this draft is ripe of offensive linemen. Troy Fautanu, Talise Fuaga, J.C. Latham, Graham Barton, Jackson Powers Johnson. The list goes on and on and on. And with as many as potentially 5 quarterbacks going in the first 13 or 14 picks, man, that number 16 pick is going to be a lot more valuable than what it initially looks like on the surface, because then you have all these other top tier, high end prospects sliding down the board because all of these quarterbacks moving up the board and getting drafted by these quarterback needy teams. And so I think Seattle could potentially not necessarily demand a haul, but Seattle could potentially get more than what a lot of other pundits out there are expecting that Seattle could potentially receive for the 16th overall pick. But again, the only and the most realistic scenario involving the Seahawks potentially drafting a Bo Nix would only be if Seattle were to trade down, acquire more capital on day 2, while also having a bottom first round pick, and then you take a Bo Nix. But as far as taking a Bo Nix at 16th overall, as far as value, I don't think that you're fulfilling the whole BPA strategy that the Seattle Seahawks have kind of, have adapted these last couple of years. I don't think that you're drafting the best available player at 16 if you go for a Bo Nix. I also don't think that you're attacking your biggest need if you do that. And so one more time, and I cannot reiterate this enough, the only and the most realistic situation or scenario involving the Seahawks potentially drafting a Bo Nix is if they trade down, acquire more day 2 capital, and they use one of those extra assets to draft a Bo Nix. But as far as taking them at 16th overall, nah, that's not going to happen. Unless Seattle's absolutely in love with the Bo Nix, then by all means, yeah, but I don't see that happening. Now with this many offensive linemen and disruptive defensive linemen still on the board, possibly, perhaps, nah, I don't see that happening. I just don't. But let me know what you guys think here in the chat. I do want to see. I want to hear from you guys. I want to see your guys' thoughts. Najee saying, I hope it's Penix. Najee, I hate to break it to you. I don't think that the Seahawks will take Penix. I really don't. I really don't. Honestly, I think he ends up in either Minnesota or Las Vegas. I'm heard it here, folks. Michael Penix, either the Vikings or the Raiders. Jackie saying, see you on Thursday, Steve. Shoot. Well, till then, Jackie. All around sports, Bo Nix is a good quarterback. But the main concern about him is that he was bad in Auburn and then became very good. Well, he was growing, getting better every single year. And yes, while the scheme, the personnel helped to a degree, he did mature and he got better as a quarterback, as a human being, right? First and foremost. And so, while Auburn didn't have the greatest of starts, he got better every year. And so I'm not super concerned about the struggles that he had to start his career. Okay, I had to pause that for a little bit because some of you guys were saying that the audio was off. Is the audio better? I think it was the background music. Let me know what you guys think of the audio now. I hope it's... Audio is cutting out. Ooh. Okay, what about now? What about now? Is the audio better? Okay, it's good now. Okay, it's the background music, man. Okay, no more background music. No more background music. Gosh, dang it. Okay, no more background music. It was the background music. I don't know if you guys were able to tell that was going on in the background. Oh, okay, there was another call. Your audio tripping, bro. My gosh. Okay, my bad. I apologize, y'all. It was the background music, though. Sheesh. Okay, so and going back to this, though, Golden Seahawks. So Colin is asking, do you think there are any quarterbacks worth taking at 16? Honestly, as unlikely as it is, the only quarterbacks that I view as worth taking at 16th overall would be Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, or Drake May. I really don't think that Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, or even a Bo Nix will be worth taking at 16th overall because, again, Seattle does want to emphasize and they do want to focus more on drafting for value, right? Not necessarily for need. And so, yeah, again, I don't think it's likely that Jaden Daniels, Jake May, or Caleb Williams falls to 16. But just to answer the question, Colin, those are the quarterbacks that I believe are worth taking at 16. But if it's not those guys, then don't take a quarterback at 16. I think it's as simple as that. Okay, everyone's saying all good now. All right, y'all, I'm done with that background music. It's making everything worse. Shoot. But yeah, with a Bo Nix though, just and going back to what we were talking about earlier, what do you guys think of the situation of the scenario that I laid out? If the Seahawks were to trade down, acquire more day 2 capital while still having a late round selection in the first round, would you guys be cool with Seattle potentially taking a Bo Nix in that scenario? Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. In the meantime, I just want to use this time to just kind of shout myself out on Instagram. So real quick, y'all, follow me on Instagram at Steezy Smith TV right now if you aren't already, and I will enter your name into a drawing to win a free dry fit and embroidered Team Steezy tee. One more time, this is what the tee looks like. As far as the angle, that probably wasn't the best angle, but this is primarily and meant to be a gym/workout type of tee. And so I'm not saying that you have to go to the gym to rock a tee like that, but I just want to kind of give you guys all the deets. But one more time, though, y'all, if you just follow me on Instagram, type "just followed you" in the chat, and I'll be sure to write your name down live on screen to make sure your entry is in for the drawing. One more time, follow me on Instagram at Steezy Smith TV right now if you aren't already, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win a free dry fit and embroidered Team Steezy tee. Or if you don't care at all for the tee, on Instagram, I do put out daily content, right? On X, I'm not there daily, but obviously on YouTube, I'm not over here daily. And so if you guys are looking for more consistent content, daily type of content, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Steezy Smith TV. All Around Sports is saying just followed you. Okay, well, send me a DM as well. All Around Sports, send me a DM on Instagram. I will try to get you connected with my guy, Austin. And like I did say, I will write your name down on a piece of paper. This is going to be live. So I'm going to write All Around. If y'all can see that, man. But All Around Sports, I got you here. I got you written down. And if I do get more names, I will write those names down. But one more time, you guys. One more time, real quick. Follow me on Instagram at Steezy Smith TV for daily coverage / content of the Seahawks if you aren't already. And you will be entered into a drawing to win a free dry fit and embroidered Team Steezy tee. Okay, All Around Sports is saying I believe I did. I'm not sure. Well, I guess I'm going to find out later. I'll still keep your name on the list nevertheless. But thank you, All Around Sports. Okay, so while I'm transitioning over, Not Chief is saying just followed, boss. Okay, Not Chief, I got you. Let me write your name down real quick. Not Chief. All right, you guys, that's 2 names now. I got Not Chief down, and I got All Around Sports. So right now we have 2 names in the drawing. If it just stays at 2 names, honestly, I might just send both of y'all shirts, to be honest, because I'm not going to try to draw, I'm not going to pull from a drawing if there's only 2 names there. But if it remains just 2 names by the end of this show, both of y'all will get free shirts. How about that? Colin is saying been following. Oh, yeah. Colin, I knew that. Well, I knew that. But your support is greatly appreciated, Colin. Matter of fact, just because you said that, I'm going to put your name on the list too. All right. We got Golden Seahawk on there. Can y'all see that? Been following. Just because you said that. But you have been following for a while. So, I gotta enter your name into that drawing. Just because. Okay, y'all. Now that we talked about Bo Nix. Real quick, just because we are talking draft, I want to revisit my biggest needs for the Seahawks, you guys have probably seen a bunch of this on a bunch of different websites, a bunch of different media outlets. But if you guys want to put out your team needs, where you feel like are the biggest needs on the Seahawks roster, feel free to put it in the chat right now. I just want to kind of remind you guys what I feel like are the biggest needs on this roster. It's interior offensive line, inside linebacker, defensive tackle / defensive lineman, tight end, quarterback, and safety. Feel free to put your guys' needs in the chat. Just to kind of transition though into the next topic, and I bought this and I put this on the screen earlier in the show. I want to give you guys real quick, just a quick rundown, a list of all the NFL draft prospects that the Seahawks have had top 30 visits with thus far. We talked about the quarterbacks. We talked about Bo Nix. We talked about Spencer Rattler. We've talked about, what's his name? John Rhys Plumlee. Here's some of the other guys that the Seahawks have had or have hosted for a top 30 visit, and they include Penn State's Chop Robinson, Penn State's Theo Johnson, tight end, Christian Boyd, defensive tackle, linebacker Nathaniel Watson, defensive lineman Grayson Murphy, wide receiver Malachi Corley, linebacker Tyrese Knight, defensive tackle Devondre Sweat, edge rusher Jared Verse. And man, to me, I was happy to see that, because if it's not Byron Murphy, if it's not an offensive line, if you were to fall to Seattle, I would like a Jared Verse in Seattle, but I just had to kind of put my 2 cents in there. Those are all the known prospects, right? There could be other prospects that have potentially visited with the Seahawks that haven't been reported, but as of right now, those are the ones that are known. One more time: Chop Robinson, Theo Johnson, Christian Boyd, Nathaniel Watson, Grayson Murphy, Malachi Corley, John Rhys Plumlee, Tyrese Knight, Devondre Sweat, Jared Verse, Spencer Rattler, and Bo Nix. Those are all of Seattle's known top 30 visits. As it pertains to all the prospects that the Seahawks met with at the scouting combine, here's that list. Quarterback Jaden Daniels, quarterback Drake May, edge rusher from UW, so in our own backyard, Braylon Trice, Alabama edge defender Dallas Turner, another edge in Marshawn Nealand, defensive lineman Braden Fiske, apologize if I'm saying that wrong, linebacker Junior Colson, who Mike McDonald knows a thing or two about, Jerzon Newton, Johnny Newton, Devin Witherspoon knows a thing or two about him, Chris Jenkins, and linebacker Trevin Wallace. Oh, and one more. Byron Murphy II. We talked about him at the top of the show. Tight end Jaheim Bell, cornerback Mike Sanistrell, quarterback JJ McCarthy, wide receiver / kick returner / punt returner Jaquan Jackson, interior offensive lineman Graham Barton, guard Zach Minter, among others. So one more time, these are all the prospects that the Seahawks have either met with at the combine or have hosted it for a top 30 visit. Let me know what you guys think of some of these names. Let me know which names you want to see. If it's not offensive linemen in Seattle, is there a position that you'd rather address in the first round if it's not offensive lineman? I do want to hear your guys' thoughts, and I'm going to head over to the chat right now. So let's see what you guys are cooking up here. Let's see what you guys are talking about. All Around Sports is saying the trade idea is good. I think Bo is going to be gone before then, but if we can get more picks and players, maybe that would be a good idea. Okay. Now, Chief is saying definitely guard. I think that's the most important thing. 1,000%. I mean, right now at left guard, the cupboard is bare. Phil Haynes has yet to re-sign. Evan Brown is in Arizona. Yeah, he was a center last year, right? But Damian Lewis is in Carolina. Anthony Bradford is better suited at right guard. So if we're talking specifically which guard spot, it's the left guard spot on the offensive line. Golden Seahawks is saying offensive line. Have you seen a graphic comparing offensive line spending and production? Seattle was last in both. Man, honestly, Seattle has been last in offensive line spending for years on end now. I feel like it's been like that for so long, and I really hope that changes this time around. But Colin, just to kind of bring this up, Seattle also happened to be top 5 as far as I think most amount of capital spent on wide receiver in the last 5 to 10 years. Seattle's top 5 on that very list. And so, yes, while Seattle likes to invest in the skill positions, can't say the same for the offensive line. With the new regime in place, I do hope that changes, though. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, Rhea is saying, just bought a Team Steezy case for my phone. I love it. Have a blessed night. Stay safe. No way. Man, that's so dope. Rhea, man, when that case comes, by the time it gets delivered, send me a picture. I want to see it because I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even have a Team Steezy case myself. I've had a couple in the past, but I've kind of lost them. So that's so dope, though. I really appreciate the support, Maria, and I hope whenever it comes, I hope you enjoy it, really, and I hope it protects your phone in the way that it should. But I hope you have a blessed night too, and thanks for tuning in always. All Around Sports is saying, I think the needs are offensive line, defensive end, tight end, wide receiver. Why do you think wide receiver is a need? I think right now that'd probably be the last of Seattle's needs, to be real. But talk to me, All Around Sports. Let me know. Chop, I want so badly. He's a play blow up machine. He would be perfect for our style of defense. Well, Seattle has brought him in for a visit, and so again, if that scenario in which I laid out earlier, if Seattle were to trade back from 16, land a couple of picks or land a pick on day 2, and then still have one at the bottom of day 1, then yeah, I think he'd definitely be a candidate there. But yeah, Chop Robinson, there are a lot of teams that are interested. A lot. If not O-line in the 16th pick, go get Chop, please. I want him so badly. Man, hey, Chop will be nice. I will say that. Yeah, see, not Chief agrees with him. He's saying wide receiver is crazy. We're stacked with wide receivers. Stacked. Absolutely stacked. Lockett isn't going to be around much longer. We need someone that is similar to him. Well, I mean, JSN, right? JSN and DK are still both relatively young. But I do understand. Okay, that makes more sense. Now that you phrase it that way, that makes sense. And in a draft class that's littered with wide receivers, maybe it won't hurt to kind of stash one for the future. But okay, All Around Sports, man, you might be onto something here. You might be onto something. All right, you guys. Well, shoot. I think I'm kind of looking through some of the topics here. I think that just about wraps up tonight's show. If you guys have any more questions for me, whether it's Seahawks, football, fantasy football, draft related, be sure to drop them. And before I hop off the show, before I hop off tonight's stream, I will try to answer those questions to the best of my ability. But I think for the most part, I think I've kind of covered everything I wanted to cover. One more time, though, because I do want to get your guys' opinion. What do you make of the Seahawks potentially double dipping at the quarterback position this offseason? One more time, just to kind of reiterate and kind of take you guys home, right, with these points. With the new regime coming into place, with the Mike McDonald coming in and his coaching staff and his, aside from John Schneider, this is essentially a new regime. So with the new regime coming in and you have a fresh slate, I mean, quarterback has got to be at the top of the list as far as what you want to address as far as priorities. And so to have as many bites at the apple as possible in regards to addressing that hole at quarterback, and I'm talking about for the future, because I do believe that Geno Smith is an above average quarterback in the National Football League. But as far as who the future is going to be at the quarterback position, it's not a bad thing, not in the slightest, to double dip at quarterback. One more time, with the new regime in place, you want the opportunity to be able to handpick, to select who you want to be your quarterback moving forward. Geno Smith was somebody they inherited. Geno Smith was not somebody that was handpicked or selected. And so for Seattle to trade for Sam Howell and potentially draft one in the same offseason would not be heinous, would not be a bad thing. I've seen a lot of fans talking about how, oh, Seattle already got a Sam Howell. Don't draft a quarterback. It's not worth it. Well, John Schneider has been on interviews all throughout the offseason lamenting the fact that him and Pete Carroll were only able to draft 2 quarterbacks in their era together. And so, yes, obviously you had a franchise quarterback in Russell Wilson, so the need just was not there. But I think John Schneider has definitely made a point of emphasis in regards to bringing in a quarterback, through the draft. And so what better way to start that than this year with the new regime in place? And so whether that means a Bo Nix being drafted, a Joe Milton in the later round, Spencer Rattler, who is in Seattle today for a visit, let's say JJ McCarthy falls and Seattle, there have been, links to that potentially happening. I mean, so many different things can play out. We never really know. It is the NFL. But this draft can't come any sooner, man. It seems like every single day that passes, it just is moving slow. It's moving slow. But I can't wait till the draft. There's still a lot of things to happen before the draft. But again, just to kind of take you guys home with my point, There's nothing wrong with double dipping at the quarterback position as long as you believe that that will eventually lead to you having your franchise quarterback for the long haul. All right, chat, let me get back to you guys here, and we will call it a wrap for tonight's show. Again, as always, man, for everybody that's been tuned in, for everybody that's been showing love and showing support, I can't thank you guys enough, man. You guys are really the best, and you guys really light my world, man, for real. Not Chief is saying, if it ain't Brock Bowers or Troy Fautanu, we need trade back for sure. Well, for me, I'd also add Byron Murphy or Jared Verse, Dallas Turner to that list. Talise Fuaga, JC Latham. If it ain't none of those guys, then yeah, trade back. Not Chief is asking, you drafting on, or you streaming on draft night, Steezy? So unfortunately, I am working on draft night, but if I'm able to get that off, or for whatever reason I don't end up going to work that day, then potentially. But I could be going to a draft party or two. And so if I do end up streaming on draft night, it might just be on my phone with wherever I'm at. And so I hope that'd be cool with y'all, but potentially. Oh, Alina saying you forgot to tell us the winning Powerball numbers. LOL. Well, I mean, Alina, I think you kind of ran away with today's and let me just bring this up real quick just to kind of remind you guys. You will see it here on the ticker, bottom of the screen. In regards to super chats, whoever finishes tonight with the highest donation total will receive a free dry fit and embroidered Team Steezy tee. It is this one right here. And if for some reason I can't get you a tee, I can't get you a Team Steezy hat. But Alina, I think you absolutely blew it out of the water today. You had a $50 super chat, and then a $5 super chat, and then a $10 super chat for a combined total of $65. Also, shout out to my good friend, man, Sports PSP, for his super chat. But Alina, you blew it out of the water today with all these super chats. Honestly, you've earned another piece of Team Steezy merch. And so, Alina, again, we'll talk on Facebook, but you're tonight's winner. So shout out to Miss Alina Daw, yeah. And thank you for the support and for the super chats, truly. Okay, so all around sports, and before I do wrap up the show, I do just want to address some of you guys here in the chat, and then we will call it a night. But all around sports is saying, what is your early record prediction for the Seahawks? Oh, yeah, right now, it's way too early. There's still so much offseason to go. But as currently constructed, I don't think Seattle makes the playoffs next year. I would say 8-9. Right now, it's 8-9. That's my record prediction. All around sports is saying, not Chief, I'll be doing a live stream on draft day. You're curious. Okay, bet, bro. Colin is saying John drafts best when he drafts the best player on the board over needs. If that happens to be a quarterback, I say we take that chance. That's a great point. Honestly, I agree. Colin. All around sports is saying I'll be doing a live stream on each of the draft days if you guys want to check me out. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'll definitely tune in all around sports for sure. Not Chief is saying update us on the raffle, Steezy, for the shirts. Oh, most definitely. I do have 3 of you guys on here. And honestly, I'm thinking about just getting all you guys shirts. Honestly. I mean, there's only 3 names on this list. And so doing a raffle with 3 names, I think you all just deserve a shirt. But not Chief, I don't know if I'm going to see you until the next stream. But follow me on Instagram, though. We'll definitely connect on Instagram. And if your handle or your username happens to be different than Not Chief, just let me know on Instagram that it's you at Not Chief. And then we'll talk about size and all that. But Not Chief, you've definitely earned a shirt for sure. Only Doll is saying, I hear now, will you ask to donate? Oh, we'll ask you to donate my shirt to NordCam. Oh, what? I would love to donate a shirt to NordCam. Alina? Okay, most definitely. I would love to do that. I'll talk to Norb and I'll ask him what his size is, and I'm gonna just send him a shirt. But most definitely, I'll make sure that he gets that shirt though, Alina. How generous of you. Ooh, okay. Corbin just tweeted that we bringing in Cam Kitchens for a top 30 visit. Let's go, baby. Hey, I hope the Miami Mutant, the Miami Monster, James Williams, potentially the next chancellor. I hope to see his name in the next week or so, in the weeks leading up to the draft. I hope that Seattle does bring him in for a visit. But Cam Kitchens, his teammate, oh yeah. Thank you for sharing this news, young Meech. Thank you. Oh yeah, I love it, man. I love it. All around sports ascent, I already have and sent you a message. Okay, perfect. I'll be sure to follow up with you guys here in the next couple of days. Now Chief is also saying not just sent you a message, bro. Okay, bet. I appreciate y'all. I will follow up with you guys. Alina, I will follow up with you on Facebook. But y'all, time flies when you're having fun, right? I think that just about wraps up tonight's show. Again, to everybody that's been tuned in the whole time, man. It looks like Concierge with Nolan is just now tuning in. Sorry I'm late, watching some mock drafts. John Schneider would seem to want to trade back, but I wonder what the least he would take to trade back. My bad. But I wonder what the least he would take to trade back. And we're talking about the trade scale. Man, that's a great point, Nolan. But you don't have to apologize for being late. Man, I love seeing you here. I love seeing you here, though, Nolan. I love seeing you in the chat. I look forward to it every show. But I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. Like I was just saying, though, I'm about to wrap this up. And so, Nolan, better late than never. But if you wanted to, I guess, go back and watch the show, thankfully, you could always, I guess, put it on replay. Or not even put it on replay, but watch the replay is what I meant to say. But Nolan, thank you, though, as per usual. Oh, Nolan with the last minute super chat, man. Thank you so much. I'll hit the replay. But thank you for the super chat, Nolan. Truly. I hope you enjoy the show whenever you hit the replay. And till next week, right? Till next week. All around sports, yes. I hope you get a Miami safety, either Kitchens or Williams. Agreed. Kamenak can actually do the bam on his cooking since he tatted on his arms. LOL. Michael Walters in the building. Steezy, my dude, man. Long time no see, Michael. Man, I hope you're doing well. I am just about to wrap up this show, but Michael, I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. Long time no talk. I hope you've been blessed. I hope you've been well, and man, I'm happy to see you here, though, for real. Oh, I thought Rhea left. Rhea saying Steezy out, baby. Hey, look, you said it before I did. Shoot, you beat me to it. See you later, Steezy. Hey, have a great night, all around sports. I will follow up with you, Not Chief, and Alina, like I said. But yeah, you guys, as I like to say, nothing but love, man. Always love. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your night. As always, man, it's all glory to God, all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Ooh, man, I hate leaving. I hate leaving you guys, man. I really do, man. I really do. Alina Dawson, have a blessed and great evening, Steezy, and everyone. Alina, I hope you do the same. Like I said, we will follow up on Facebook. To everybody out there, man, y'all have a blessed rest of your night. And like I like to say, man, Steezy out, baby. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.